Good morning and welcome to Beyond the SEAF Model. I'm Jack Kosar. This is effective for November 4th, 2024. Let's get started. SEAF signals for this week. Financials, consumer discretionary, industrials, keeping consumer discretionary from last week. The churn continues a little bit. As you can see, technology taking a little bit of a header, as well as utilities, the worst two on the trading week. Very much the frenetic pace as we're approaching this upcoming election. We've said this a couple of weeks in a row, but just worth repeating. The economy that is proposed for each candidate is drastically different. We are very much seeing money sloshing around, but in a very kind of a tightish window. We've now had 31 consecutive days without seeing a 1% increase or decrease in asset flows for the combined 11 sector spiders, which means we're staying in relatively tight range, still relatively alternating days in terms of down and up days when it comes to increasing or decreasing the total amount of assets under management for the 11 sector spiders. We were down actually last week, negative 1.2%, which means we had a reduction in overall assets in the sector spiders. Kind of equate this to trying to balance a water bottle that's got water in it. Nobody's adding water or subtracting water, but it's kind of just sloshing from one end to the other. And we're seeing that a little bit here as money back into financials. Again, not super strong. We're going to highlight those a little bit in the heat map. One to keep notice, communication services is climbing. But as you can see here, we still have some relatively high scores, 12, 13, 14. At the top end of the range in terms of favored, and we're seeing a lot of churn in those numbers as well. Heading into our heat map, we kind of have a lot of this yellow sitting on, especially in our tactical month. For the last month or so, not much change. Financials is up, and healthcare is down, and a little bit of down in consumer staples. But outside of that, everything else hovering around zero. Almost not of a net change. We're seeing, again, that money sloshing around, but not a lot of new entrants into the market, not a lot of moves that we're seeing. Communication services coming in at 1, that's 0.2% increase for flows for the trading week in communication services, looking relatively positive, going from 8.5 to 1. We'll show that a little bit more in rainbow charts as a potential for people looking to maybe get into communication services. But again, broadly, a little bit of a Picasso painting here on the heat map. Financials showing a little bit two time periods of strength, with the third kind of lagging in. That's our highest score. A score of 6 there showing for financials, which is nice and strong. Technology, again, negative 0.3. But when we're looking for average moves, we're really looking for that 0.4 or higher to really show kind of conviction, and we're seeing 0.2. Hopefully we kind of get a reconfigure here and can really trend toward the end of the year with whatever economy then ends up coming out for the election. But kind of heading into our rainbow charts, financials looking relatively strong. We checked down, had a little bit of a break here for financials after having some nice strong June through August here. Kind of hitting up into that upper favorite again after a little bit of a check mark. Nice broad relative outperformance in financials, continuing that trend that started in June. Financials right now looking like a good place to be as we move forward. Consumer discretionary. Consumer discretionary is one of our other SEAF signals for this week. Broad score appreciation, very little in terms of the relative outperformance in that. Seeing a slight turn down. We are testing this resistance in consumer discretionary in the relative performance part of the chart. Again, with the flows being as weak they are and they're shifting, we really do need to see some sustained confirmation in the SEAF signal in favor and to really break out here. But that, I'm not sure that's going to happen until after the election. But as of right now, this is what we have. Looking at communication services, it was the top for the particular trading week And what we're noticing is, as you know, as we're moving and sloshing around a little bit, we are getting a little bit more whipsawed on that trading week because we haven't seen any sustained flows into one sector, really going back a month now. So without that stickiness coming from the tactical month or the strategic quarter, we are getting whipped around a little bit. But the nice thing to see here with the communication services is as we're entering into favor, this one is sitting at fourth in terms of our ranking. We are seeing a nice relative outperformance trend starting to emerge. So we're going to keep an eye on communication services as another really strong week, especially with the weak scores from 2 or 3, can pump this thing into our SEAF signal. Utilities. Biddling here, back into neutral after touching up into favor and coming back down. We have a sideways relative outperformance chart. So not much to say here other than we are seeing that frenetic move. Money flowed right in, right out. And as I've been saying, it really, what I've been noticing as we haven't seen a lot of money flow in or out of the sector spiders, and it's really money sloshing around. We are getting these little quick hits. As you see here, some slight bit of relative outperformance here, back correction, but mostly sideways for utilities in terms of its relative outperformance. Same thing for technology. Technology climbed right back up and then ripped right back down, right back into a void with a 11 on the trading week, 9 in the tactical month. This lack of stickiness in flows over any time period is allowing us to barely be kind of moved around by this trading week, as you can see here, pointing now down into relative outperformance. But again, mostly sideways going back the last couple of months for technology. Bringing up, just wanting to bring industrials up here just to kind of show as money ripped out of technology, money ripped into industrials. Industrials is one of our SEAF signals for this particular week. Got the relative outperformance slide that we had to stop on a dime and turn upwards. Looking for some sustained flows to kind of get this in here and really start to get sticky here. But as you can see, money ran out of technology, ran into industrials. I think broadly the model is doing what it's supposed to do. It is following that money. But when the money is at the pace that it currently is, that makes our trades a little difficult. It is doing its job. It is tracking the money. Money is frenetic. We need that money to slow down a little bit. And ideally it does after we exit this election and the whole investing community can really come on a consensus of where they see this market going. We will be back next week to highlight everything in the SEAF model. That is all I have for this week. I look forward to breaking